Hello, Tiger fans, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Hey Corner Crew podcast. I am your host, JJ Lang, and with me, as always, are my wonderful co-hosts. You know him, you love him, Nate, the little goon Foss.
We'll see how far we get with this. We've been trying to record for almost 40 minutes now, and it's been technical hell.
Yes, very much true. And the one who is now recording this week's episode instead of me, Dan the Statman Scully.
The audio's screwed up. It's my fault. But it's also JJ's because his computer didn't work.
My computer's being stupid today. It's all right. But
blame JJ for everything.
You blame me for anything anyway, so I'm not even fazed by it. However, despite this being whoever's fault this is, we did have 4 very entertaining games this past weekend / half week because we had games on Tuesday and Wednesday, which was stupid. So we're going to get right into talking about that. I'm going to throw it over to Dan, and we're going to start talking about the 2 women's games that were on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Tuesday games are acceptable now. We've won 2 in a row. So
facts.
Well, I'll take it. I will accept Tuesday
and
games for now.
You weren't there for either of them, which was even better. Which
no,
means you
I wasn't.
go on Tuesday games.
I had prior engagements.
Both hockey games, correct?
Both hockey games, yes.
Anyway, on Tuesday, the Tigers hosted Syracuse in a reschedule thanks to the first winter storm that ravaged Buffalo this year, or this season, I'll say.
Yeah.
The Tigers started this game pretty hot. 4 goals in the first period, which is tied for a season high with both games of the St. Michael's series. All of them were just... Not that it doesn't matter. You know, the saying goes, they don't ask how, they ask how many. But these were all very good goals.
Oh, yeah.
I think 3 of them...
They weren't fluky at all.
I think, 2 of them were tips. One of them was just a sniper shot. And the last one was just basically crashing the net.
Yep.
I don't think we scored an ugly goal all weekend. All week.
No, we didn't.
No. Tigers did scare us a little there. We went into the first intermission up 4-0, but Syracuse would get 2 back in the second and 1 back in the third. But Amy Dobson was able to pick up an empty netter to finish the game with a 5-3 win for the Tigers at home on a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
That was a great chip around the defenseman too. Like that was just the hockey IQ that Amy has. I almost wish we had more years of her.
I mean, only Celeste had been behind the bench sooner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, and also the 3 goals that were scored against us were really just on defensive breakdowns. Like they really weren't even on Sarah. There was, I think, Dan, you correct me if I'm wrong, there was at least 1, maybe 2, where just no one was watching the back end, and Sarah's gaze was on one end, and they just kind of threw it around and were able to drop it behind her before she even saw it was over there.
Yeah, I don't really remember Sarah Thompson's 2 goals in the second, but Madison Primo's to make it 4-3 was I don't know if you'd call it a partial breakaway, but it kind of looked that way from upstairs. Nothing really Sarah was going to do about it.
No.
4 goals on 6 shots, too.
Yeah.
Like, the shots still aren't there in big numbers, but they're starting to find the back of the net now, which is
they are.
A nice change from most of the year so far. So,
well, and this game especially, but even Wednesday and the previous week's Tuesday game against SLU, it shows that when we can hold possession in the offensive zone, the talent is there to score goals and win games. It's just a matter of having the puck and holding it in the O-zone so that we can do something with it.
Oh, yeah.
And Sarah played phenomenally this weekend.
Yeah, she did.
Week too. I mean,
how many times do we need to say it? I mean, exactly. I feel like we're just beating a dead horse with that. Like,
yeah,
say it every
Sarah's
week.
Just Sarah is Sarah. Like it's kind of just becoming it's becoming the same old, same old. Like we just expect her to have a very high level of play every time she's out there.
I mean, it's the strong suit of our team. I mean,
Oh
we're
yeah,
very
100%.
We're very good in between the pipes, and when you don't have to worry about that, everything kind of works itself out.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you can play a little bit more free, which I think where sometimes those defensive breakdowns happen. Knowing you have such a strong netminder, you can take a few more risks because you know that your goaltender is most likely going to bail you out.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think 6 games left, I'd like to see our AT take a little bit more chances just based on the situation at hand, needing to get points to get in.
And can I also say they were very aggressive the first period? Like, oh my God.
Oh yeah.
It was nuts. Like they
came out flying. You could tell Syracuse was a little
they were fatigued. They were definitely fatigued.
Yeah. As a reminder for anyone that might not remember, Syracuse, because of this whole reschedule situation, they played last weekend at Lindenwood out in Missouri, flew back, had to play us Tuesday, Wednesday, and now they're going to be playing at Mercyhurst Friday, Saturday. So they've got a lot going on in a short time span.
Yeah, they do.
Tigers also went 2 for 3 on the power play and killed all 3 Syracuse power plays,
which was really good to see.
Only gave up 3 shots on the power play when they were killing 2. And that's when you can hold them to 2 or less on a power play. That's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Good game Friday. Oh my gosh. Tuesday.
I hate it. I still hate it.
See, this is why I hate weekday games. That throws my entire week off.
I still hate it.
Then on Wednesday, the other half of the home and home, Tigers traveled out to Tennessee. A few of us made it. Nate and JJ couldn't. I braved the slop that was the throughway.
The Statmobile.
Yeah, we Corner Cruise decided that's the name of my car now. Not a great game for the Tigers. I mean,
unfortunately, it was close.
It's not even.
It's not that it was a bad game, but it
was close.
There was a distinct difference between the second period and the first and the third. Yeah. And just like the trip to Tennessee earlier this year, Syracuse scored early. It was only a little over 3.5 minutes in. It's always hard having a game start like that and you're kind of on the back foot pretty much right out of the gate. But they held them scoreless for over a period after that.
Yeah.
And the second was pretty much all Tigers. I mean, I think, what did I text you, Nate? I think we outshot them 14-6 or something in that period.
Yeah.
Ariel Desmet was Ariel Desmet in the second period. That's and I feel like some teams say that about our goaltenders too, and it's like probably. It's just you couldn't buy one in that period.
Unfortunately.
And I think they just, like we said, they were so aggressive on Tuesday. I feel like in the third period, I think if they get one in the second, it's a whole different game.
Absolutely.
I think if they go into the intermission tied at 1, I think it's a completely different hockey game. But
I mean, Tuesday's game, the first period ended, we had 2 players on hat trick watch, and it's like, and then nothing in the first on Wednesday.
And if you don't give up that goal a minute and a half after yours, I think that can be very deflating because you worked so hard in the second period and you finally got one, and then all of a sudden you took a penalty and it was in the back of your net.
Yeah. The Amy Dobson did score to make it 1-1 early in the third. Basically just put home a rebound that was sitting in the crease. Not that different than the goal that wasn't a tip or a sniper shot on Tuesday. But shortly after, the Tigers took 2 penalties on the same play. I only saw the trip. Dom only saw the body check, but they were both pretty blatant from what we discussed.
Yeah.
Um, it it's really difficult to kill a full 2 minutes of 5-on-3. The Tigers weren't able to do it. They gave up a power play goal. Then basically a couple seconds after the second penalty expired, they gave up another.
And that was pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean the Tigers had some I don't want to say momentum because that's not the right word, but they had something going towards the end of the third. They ended up drawing a penalty. Tigers called timeout. They pulled Sarah. Unfortunately, Syracuse was able to score a shorthanded empty netter, and that sealed it for them 4-1. But it was still a hard fought game. The fact that it was a 3-goal loss is not. That was not a 3-goal game.
No, it was not at all. But
the chances were there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the positive takeaway from this series was you gained 2 points in the standings.
Yep.
Yeah.
You gained
that was
2 points
big.
in the standings. That's huge.
Lindenwood beating I will get to it in a minute, but
Yeah.
Lindenwood beating Syracuse, things were not looking good, and then so we got those 2 points back that we lost in the hunt, and that's all you needed. I think we all agreed if we can take one of these two, we put ourselves in a very good position. With
100%.
Mercyhurst coming to town coming next weekend,
those are going to be tough games.
Those are going to be very important games, so we need people to show up.
Let's go through the scores for this past weekend and looking ahead, and then we'll look ahead to our next opponent. We'll also talk about the standings after that for the ladies.
So as Nate mentioned, I guess as all three of us mentioned, Syracuse went to Lindenwood back last weekend. They took the first game 4-1, but Lindenwood was able to put up 6 goals on the Orange to win 6-3 on Saturday. Like we discussed in the last podcast, the league week is all sorts of screwy right now. Penn State went to Mercyhurst for a Sunday-Monday series. They swept that. They won the first game 5-2, and Mercyhurst took them to overtime, with Penn State winning 3-2 in that one. Looking ahead to this week, it's less of a mess, but it's still a little weird. I was wrong about Syracuse playing Friday-Saturday at Mercyhurst. It's actually a Saturday-Sunday series. Lindenwood flies out to face Penn State Friday at 6 and Saturday at 2. And Syracuse makes that rescheduled trip to Mercyhurst Saturday, Sunday, both games at 1 p.m.
We're big Penn State fans this weekend.
Yes, we are.
Yep.
Big Penn State fans this weekend.
I don't think Penn State will have any problem with them, but I think we also thought the same thing about Syracuse, and look how that turned out.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't know that any of us really expected us to tie Penn State. And
no. And
no.
that game is really what's putting us in a good spot.
Yep.
Because even if we do sweep Lindenwood in a couple weeks, if we don't have that tie, we're tied, and they, depending on what the tiebreaker is, we would still need to find a point somewhere. And
so, looking at CHN right now, looking at the way the CHA standings are, Penn State is in first with 17 points. Syracuse is in second with 12 points. Mercyhurst is sitting third with 10. Lindenwood is fourth with 6. RIT is dead last and fifth with 3. So theoretically, if you can get a sweep over Lindenwood in a few weeks, or even you jump them, or if you can even steal one from Mercyhurst or tie with them, you're a point closer. Like, you can get there. But you need Lindenwood to keep losing games. That's the thing.
We can look at the rest of our schedule here. So off this weekend, which is big.
Mm-hmm.
get some rest after a hard fought week, and then Mercyhurst comes to GPC. Then we go to Lindenwood, which is a nightmare in itself. So if you can steal one from Mercyhurst, that would be huge, because then
be
all
nice.
you need is a split down there, which I think we would all feel a lot better if that was the case, not needing to win both. And then Penn State comes to GPC the week for senior weekend, the last weekend of the season.
Yeah.
So I think there's potential. There's points to get, points to take in the last 6 games, I think.
The other thing to
and then
think about,
you look
too,
at Lindenwood's. You look at Lindenwood's schedule. They come to Penn State this weekend, then they're off, and then we go there, and then they have to come back to Pennsylvania to play Mercyhurst.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
That's a lot for them. So I think those 2 games in February are going to be huge.
My only thing is, part of me starts wondering if towards the tail end, if a team like Penn State or Mercyhurst, like if they get a playoff spot locked up for sure, are they going to just rest people and say, forget it against Lindenwood and just let them do what they want?
I think Penn State has a spot locked up.
They do. No, but I mean like Mercyhurst, because they're behind on Syracuse by 2, and Lindenwood is at
Mercyhurst is still
got
in
2
danger of
games
falling
in
out.
hand.
Yeah,
So,
I mean Mercyhurst has,
but they're
that's
still
what
in
I'm
danger
saying.
of falling out. So
they could.
I don't think they. Well, because if you look at it this way, say Mercyhurst doesn't beat Syracuse at all, and that series against us becomes huge, because if we somehow if we take 3 out of 4, we're right up with them.
Yeah.
Especially if we do sweep Lindenwood that last weekend of the year, when they play Lindenwood and we play Penn State, that becomes huge for them. So then they would have to play their players against Lindenwood, and then who knows? I think the CHA standings are far from set. The playoffs are far from set with 4 weeks to go.
And I don't think you can even.
I think the only thing that's probably not going to change most likely is Penn State at the top.
They're going to sit there and ride it to the end.
Yeah.
And even then, I don't think that I don't see them wanting to rest anybody in that last series against us, because they're high enough up that I don't know that realistically they're competing for an at-large bid, but the tournament for the women is 11 teams now. So
it's a lot bigger than what it used to be.
There's a chance, and they're not going to want to let off the gas in case something happens with the teams that are above them.
Penn State is currently sitting on the bubble in the pairwise.
They're at what, 11 or 12?
They're at 11. So they
would have to hope.
They need to win.
Yeah. So they're not going to let off the gas, even if they've got the number 1 seed in the tournament locked up when they come to GPC.
They need to win, because they could possibly, I know with how the pairwise works, it might be tough for them to jump Clarkson, who's at 10, but
if they can hang at 11, they might be all right.
Well, that's the auto bid for CHA.
Yeah.
That's where that. So if they don't win CHA and they're sitting at 11, they're out. Because
I see what you mean. Okay, I gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah. So it's like on the men's side, that 16th spot is for Atlantic hockey.
Yep.
So that's just how it is. It's how the pairwise works. It's how everything works itself out. So
let's talk Mercyhurst real quick while we're here, unless you want to wait till the next episode to do that, because they got the weekend off.
I think we should wait, because that way we're talking about the same weekend in the same episode.
Yeah, good call. All right, so switching gears then. The men had their series done at the Mullet Arena this past weekend. Nate, if you play that stupid trumpet theme, I'm going to kick you out of the podcast. So
I'm not
funny.
I'm not.
Not because he doesn't want to annoy you, but because there's copyright concerns.
Well, both.
Yes, I'm more concerned about being taken down from YouTube.
That's a good point. And Spotify.
Spotify.
That being said, I'm throwing it to Nate now so we can talk about the embarrassment the men dealt out to ASU this past weekend.
Imagine being an Arizona hockey fan.
Ouch.
Must be tough. watching your team lose every single night in your own building. Until the Vegas Golden Knights show up.
All right, we get it. Move on.
Big 5-1 win on Friday, down in Tempe, which, by the way, that building is phenomenal. That place looks awesome. All joking aside, it really does look good.
It is a nice building.
It also looks better when we're winning.
Yeah.
RIT scored all 5 of their goals right in a row. Tyler Mahan, again, kid's on fire. He wants that Rookie of the Year award.
He might get it, too.
He wants it.
He wants it bad.
bad.
Back to back it with Wilkie.
Tanner Andrew finally got going again. That was good. The power play went 1 for 3. The penalty kill went 4 for 5 on Friday. So typical RIT hockey game, pretty much. Mm-hmm. 3 goals in the second from Andrew Moritz and Isabel. Isabel is hanging around with Mahan too a little bit for at least rookie of the year on the team. Good to see Wilkie put the puck in the back of the net. I know it's been a couple games for him. So, and then Tommy was Tommy.
Yeah.
And I feel like we say that about both teams' goaltenders every week.
What else do we need to say? What else do we need to say?
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just funny that we say it all the time.
I mean, he's fantastic in goals, so like, why say anything else?
It's a good game Friday. The penalty parade was still a thing.
2 10-minute misconducts for the Tigers.
Oh my God. I wanted to tear my head off as soon as I saw the first one. I'm like, we've been so long without one, and then here comes one already.
Well, the Laskowski one can't be chirping the ref.
Listen, we know how to get away with it. We learned it from Nicholson. You chirp the linesman because they can't penalize you for doing that.
They definitely can. They can call a 10-minute misconduct.
They're less likely to, but
very true.
Now we're gonna have Craig call one in a women's game just to prove that he can.
Look, man, we were all really sad that Craig wasn't
call it on
Penn State.
Yeah, and Penn State on like their best players thing.
With our luck, Craig's never gonna get to call a game at RIT again the way we talk about him all the time. And chant his name when he's in the arena. We were
chanting his name at Mercyhurst.
Anyways, back to the Arizona.
But other than the penalty parade, 34 minutes of penalties for RIT. Back number 1 in the country in penalty minutes, by the way.
Hell yeah.
I want that. Honestly, I'm at the point, our PK is so good, I want to have the most.
Just keep doing it.
I really do.
Could you imagine winning Atlantic, making the tournament, being number 1 seed, and having the most penalty minutes in the entire country? That's just a meme I want to ride with.
We have most penalty minutes in it per game by almost 2 whole minutes on mission.
The next T-shirt design is going to be Cody Laskowski in like a recliner
in a prison.
In the box.
In a prison uniform.
No, that's even worse.
Yeah. So good win Friday. That one felt good. Felt really good.
Oh, yeah.
And then Saturday.
That game was interesting.
Another penalty parade. That's for sure. How many penalty minutes do we have this one?
Oh, only 21.
Only 21. That's not pathetic. ASU got out to a hot start. They were up 2-0 2 minutes into the second. And we were like, all right, ASU showed up. After they didn't show up Friday, even though their coach said it was all puck luck. I'll get to that in a minute. There's a rant coming. That clown. I used to respect him, but
not anymore.
Dimitri getting his second of the year. Good for him. I knew once he got one, he was going to start putting it back in the net. And then Petrucci, Tanner Andrew got his second. Cody got his second, and Calvin Boots
again.
Bootsy, love it.
Bootsy has found his place as a forward, and I'm kind of loving it now.
He's a role player, and I love it.
Mm-hmm. Just
I love his style of play.
Move him to a new position and let him roll. Like it was a good idea by coach.
Our fourth line of Boots, Petrucci, and then the rotating of Evan Miller. Andrew Miller played for us years ago.
I think you talked about that during like the men's.
He's made this mistake.
No.
I've made it a bunch of times.
He's made this mistake so many times, and he keeps mentioning that Andrew Miller used to play for us. And I'm like, Nate, people who have watched this long enough just know this by now because you've screwed up so many times.
I loved Andrew Miller. He was one of my favorites. I think the fourth line, everybody that's been on it has been absolutely phenomenal this year. I mean, I hate numbering lines, and because people are like, oh, fourth line, they're the worst line on the team. It's not true at all.
No,
our fourth line, it's the grind line. I love it. They're the ones that go out after a goal scored on us. They throw the body around, and they get the momentum back, which is huge. And you need that on a team, especially a team with so much offense like we have. Mm-hmm. Got to have a line that maybe doesn't score all the time, but when they do, it's pretty fun. So,
oh yeah.
Power play went 0 for 4 with one shot. That's not good. But the penalty kill was 6 for 6. So,
bingo.
Gotta love it when the PK goes perfect on a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Wish they didn't have to.
Colby had a pretty good night in goal too.
Colby was good. Colby was really good.
He earned the chain too, didn't he?
He did. They gave him the chain.
Did we really only have 20 shots? We outshot 35 to 20 in this game.
On Saturday?
Did not.
Wait a minute. Like so we were 25% shooting that night? That's wild.
Yeah. I mean, I'll take it, but that did not seem like it was
10 goals scored in one weekend. Take it and run.
Yep. Colby, 32 saves, and 3 goals he gave up weren't really, they were whatever.
Not at all.
I thought he played well, and I honestly say having Colby Matthews as our backup goaltender
is fantastic.
It's insane. Like he could start for some programs around the country.
Oh yeah,
and it's nice to have a guy that God forbid, knock on wood, Tommy gets hurt, knowing that we have somebody behind him that can come in and play just as well and win hockey games
is great.
So good weekend. If I ever have to hear narco again during a game, not during warmups, I will be very upset.
So overhearing that every 5 freaking minutes during that live stream, all you heard was that.
My favorite
corner crew goes to a Mets game and gets traumatized.
My
PTSD.
I got one thing to say. I'm glad we got a sweep because the amount of excuses that came out of their program for that weekend,
oh my god,
was unbelievable.
And I'm also going to go on a
4 goals went off our own player. 2 of them were clean shots. 2 were great deflections from our guys. And
stop making excuses. You got beat fair and square. You got beat fair and square. Stop whining.
Did you lose to the Atlantic hockey team? Oh.
And my response to that is there's a reason we're ranked 19 and you're not ranked at all.
There's a reason you don't have a conference, you bum.
And
there's more than one reason, but
you're 4 NHL draft picks.
And how about
lost to ours? Yeah. All our NHL draft picks. Yep.
How about the fact that their radio guy or their TV guy on the stream literally
that was encouraging the line brawl? Yeah.
He was encouraging the line brawl, and he was encouraging them to skate down to the other end and just go start fighting Colby during the middle of the game. I'm like, how is this program not being recommended?
Joke of a program.
How does the NCAA hear that and not go, you need to do something about this guy because we don't want our radio people just openly encouraging fighting during our college athletic events. That's not exactly smart.
JJ, they were just mad that they were losing to the Atlantic Hockey School. That's all.
It's all right. We all know who runs that program over there, so it's okay. Chris Howard. I'll name him all day long. There's a reason their football coach got fired also because he violated NCAA bylaws. Makes perfect sense for them. Scum program, scum athletics program.
They think they're hot shit because they have a nice new arena. Sorry for the swear word, but
it's the first time you've said that on this show, I think.
Nope.
So let's take a look now at the rest of the league from this past weekend, because there was actually games on the weekend and not in the middle of the week. Thank you, CHA. Let's take a look at those scores, and then we'll kind of do a standings breakdown before we look ahead. Oh no, we'll look ahead, then we'll do our standings breakdown.
All right, the rest of the league. Friday, Sacred Heart hosted Holy Cross. They skated to a tie. We're not gonna argue about this, Nate.
Nope. No.
Sacred Heart won the shootout.
Nah,
2 to
Sacred Heart
1.
won, so it's a tie.
I'm not even gonna attempt to parse your logic on this.
Nope. Mm-mm.
Mercyhurst hosted AIC, beat him 4-1. Canisius went to Bentley and beat them 5-1. Air Force hosted Niagara, and the Falcons won that one 6-3.
Good.
On Saturday, AIC was able to take 2 points from Mercyhurst with a 2-1 overtime win. Canisius and Bentley skated to a 2-2 tie, with Bentley winning the shootout 1-0. Yes, Bent WSO. What? Why does it have to say bent? Why is that funny to me?
Ben was so.
Oh man, you know we're gonna bring a
That's
get
fun.
bent whiteboard to Canisius, right?
No.
Anyways, continue, Dan. Sorry.
Niagara earned the split with a 2-1 win at Air Force. Sacred Heart made sure that they took 5 out of 6 from Holy Cross with a 4-1 win. And
Thanks for the help, Holy Cross.
And shockingly, all of the games that week were on Friday and Saturday for the league. So this coming Friday, tomorrow, as we record this, it's weird recording on a Thursday. I don't like it.
It's weird recording in the middle of the afternoon.
Yeah,
too.
That I don't mind.
We're
This
a
is-
late night podcast recording group.
This is literally just for those listening. It's 2:09 in the afternoon on Thursday, so this is like real weird for us.
So RIT will travel to Holy Cross, which we will get to in a minute. Canisius has a Battle of the Bridge with Niagara. Why is that not a home and home? Why are those both at Canisius?
Because the Atlantic hockey schedule sucks.
Yeah, that's
Canisius
the correct
probably doesn't.
answer.
And honestly, after what happened last year at Niagara when Canisius went there, they probably don't want it at Niagara.
Refresh
It
my
doesn't
memory.
The Niagara student section tried to start a fight with
No,
C-Block.
not tried, succeeded.
There were no fists thrown, JJ. You weren't there.
I knew people that were there and saw it happen.
I know people that were there.
Well, yeah. Anyways, continue.
Sacred Heart heads to the Connecticut Ice Tournament.
Such a stupid name for a tournament. Good lord.
Connecticut Ice Tournament.
Oh, it's the Connecticut Ice.
They will face Quinnipiac on Friday.
They're gonna get smoked.
Quinnipiac's like
Probably.
number 4 still, aren't they?
They're gonna get smoked.
They were literally the number 1 team in the country, got swept by some unranked team, and then dropped.
They
to 4.
lost to Cornell and Colgate this past weekend. So
Ouch. Well, Cornell's ranked.
As long as Sacred Heart doesn't win anything, God, they get so cocky after they win something.
I know, right?
I don't think it's called the Commander-in-Chief's Trophy in hockey, but we've got a battle between Army and Air Force down at West Point.
That'll be a cool game to watch.
I want to go to one of those.
That game is sold out, by the way, for those who were watching this. That game is totally sold out.
They're both sold out.
Yeah,
and I want to go to that game one year. That sounds like such a fun environment.
Yeah, it does.
And Mercyhurst will host Bentley. All of Friday's games start at 7, other than the Mercyhurst game, which is 7:05 because reasons. On Saturday, Sacred Heart will either face Yale or
Yale.
Connecticut.
Yale.
It'll be Yale.
It'll be Yale.
It'll be Yale.
And I hate that I just said I'm reading directly from the schedule, which is why I said Connecticut.
I can't believe you just said Connecticut and not
But it's UConn. The Syracuse fan in me hates that I called them Connecticut. That game will be at a time to be announced. I'm assuming that's because the championship game for the tournament will be after the consolation game.
Mhm.
Well, no, then the Sacred Heart game would be at 4 no matter what. Because they're playing Quinnipiac, who's hosting.
Yeah, but
so maybe they're not doing it that way.
It all depends, because Bowling Green, when we played in the Icebreaker a few years back, got stuck playing the early game on Saturday because they lost to us.
Nope. No, RIT played Ohio State first. I was there.
That's not how it was scheduled. Maybe that's how
wasn't.
it happened, but
You know what sucks is that there was nobody at the RIT Ohio State game except me, Zoe, and the pep band.
Yikes.
And a couple of other random RIT people. But
and then the rest of the series wrap up. Air Force at Army at 4, Bentley at Mercyhurst at 5:05, RIT at Holy Cross at 7, and Niagara at Canisius at 7.
watch party Saturday.
Yes, let's talk
Be
about
there.
this. Let's talk
Let's
about
go.
this. Let's talk about this series. Obviously, we've played Holy Cross already this year. We did take 5 of 6 from them earlier. I expect something very similar again this weekend as well.
That's kind of what my prediction was going to be too. Holy Cross is a team that I said in that series I did not want to play in March, and I still stand by it. They are a very good hockey team with very strong goaltending. I mean, Jason Grande and Thomas Gale have been. I mean, Jason Grande has really taken the puck from Gale, or the net from Gale this year.
Yes.
He's got 6 wins on the year. He's got 912 save percentage. I mean, they've got good goaltending.
Yes, they do.
So do not expect a high scoring series. I think if either team gets over 4,
It'll be shocking.
maybe not 4, maybe 5, I'll be shocked. I think the goaltending on both sides, they're just going to be really good this weekend. I think. All right, can Holy Cross put the puck in the net more than we can. So
that is how the game works.
I was going to say
Thank you.
That
Thank
is
you,
how a
Dan.
game is won, Nate.
Thank you. No, it's can they? Can their offense keep?
Yeah.
I think Holy Cross is gonna learn a lot about themselves this weekend going into the postseason.
And Holy Cross
if they get in.
I mean, they're kind of hovering like middle of the pack right now, so who knows?
Dan, wake up! It's the middle of the afternoon. There's no excuse to be yawning.
I've also had 2 cups of coffee, so
very true.
I shouldn't be yawning at all.
Let's go to our predictions so we can talk about the standings, because I think that's more interesting, personally speaking. So we'll start with Dan, go to Nate, and with me.
I don't say this very often, but I'm gonna say we're gonna sweep them.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning. I think we get more points this weekend than they do, in whatever combination you want, 4, 5, or 6. I think a sweep is most likely, but I think
so,
you could see 5, possibly.
I really do think we're going to get more of the same. I think these games are going to be close, and I think we're going to come out on top in both of them, whether it's an overtime win or an actual win.
There's going to be some good hockey this weekend.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
I think across the board in Atlantic hockey too, there's going to be a lot of good games this weekend. But
oh yeah,
we have a game in hand on Sacred Heart, and that's coming this weekend. And they're going to have a game in hand on us after this weekend. So you need to make sure you win that at least one of these games.
Yep. To keep up.
I mean, we could have a 9-point lead if we sweep this weekend on Sacred Heart.
That's gonna be tough for them.
That's hard to recover from.
So from math,
maybe not that bad in Atlantic hockey, but
so let's jump into standings talk now. So we obviously talked earlier this week. A bunch of us in Discord. If you're not in the Discord, definitely there will be a link for that in the description here. It's all over the place. You can find it easily. So the way the standings currently sit right now, RIT is first with 40 points.
Blacks.
Sacred Heart is second with 36. AIC third with 31. Mercyhurst is fourth with 25. Niagara is fifth with 22. Holy Cross is sixth with also 22 points. So there's a 2-8. There's a tie for fifth. Seventh place is Army with 20 points. Canisius is eighth with 17. Bentley is 9 with 14. And Air Force is sitting dead last with 10. So quick little like math fun facts. The most points Sacred Heart can gain in the standings, like they can end the season with at most 55 points. If they run the table conference-wise the rest of the year, that is the most they can end up with from the math we've done.
Too.
It's very possible they could do that. At the same time,
they've got 4 against AIC.
Yeah, I was going to get to that. They have to play AIC twice in a 3-week span. That's going to be tough for them to win 4 times. 4 times. That's going to be really hard.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So, because I believe the first one is at AIC. They play someone else, and then they're at Sacred Heart for the last series, or is it flipped?
It's home and home on a Thursday,
really,
and a Saturday because AIC has to play Thursday. Then Sacred Heart plays Army on a random Tuesday.
Weird.
And then
Sacred Heart and Tuesday
you
games.
have your own building now. Why are you playing on a Tuesday?
Maybe it's being rented out by someone else.
Maybe they enjoyed it last year, even though we beat them both times.
Yeah. Then they host Air Force. They go to Canisius, and then they end the year with a home and home against AIC.
That's going to be tough. So
not a crazy easy schedule, but not a crazy hard one either. So
it's kind of like a weird one. It's much more difficult than ours. For sure.
I don't know about that. I think this weekend's going to be tough. I mean, Canisius is always a toss-up with Barchevsky and that. And I mean, Niagara's still good. They're in a little bit of a slide.
They're skidding a bit.
They're still good. And then
it'll be interesting to see what happens to Niagara this weekend.
I think we benefit from having 4 home games to end the year.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that realistically, after the second Niagara game, we could play all home games the rest of the year until the NCAA tournament.
And realistically speaking, after this weekend, we technically have home games the rest of the year because the 2 games at Dwyer are home games, I think, because how many people we're going to bring. And the one lone Friday game at the Harbor Center, that's a home game for us also, really.
Our house.
C block, the C block probably won't even be there because they got basketball or something. So who even knows? It might just be us dominating that whole game, just yelling at everybody. So who knows?
Curious now.
It wouldn't matter if C block showed up. You dominate the game by yelling at everybody.
I mean, yes, that's very true. But at the same time, 80 versus 8 or 80 versus 0 is a difference.
There's going to be 0 Canisius fans there. They're at Niagara for basketball that night.
Oh, yeah, they're all going to be at Niagara.
There's going to be nobody there.
So do we go sit in the C block for that part of that game? Be like,
no, we do not.
Mobile corner crew to the other
end. We do not do that.
That'd be kind of funny, though.
Damn, anyways, I really wanted that to have a good amount of people at that game. Oh well.
Nope. So that being said, looking at kind of standings wise, if we can get more than 55 standings points, if we can get more than 55, we lock first place because that is the max amount that Sacred Heart can get. So Sacred Heart basically has to win out and hope that we play sub 500 hockey the rest of the way.
So the magic number is 5.
Yes. You need to win 5 games.
If we win 5 games, Sacred Heart loses a game, then it turns into 4, and then it turns into 3.
Which basically
realistically,
Yep.
We could have the 1 seed locked up after Canisius. Realistically.
Yes.
Because because they're non-conference this weekend. After the Niagara series, we could have the 1 seed locked up going into 4 straight home games.
Well, because the way it looks is if we sweep Holy Cross, sweep Canisius, and win 1 at Niagara, it's over. We've got 1 and we've locked it. It doesn't matter. So, and then if Sacred Heart ends up getting swept,
even if they lose a game, I don't think Sacred Heart gets swept in any other series. I think
they probably won't, but
they're good for 1 win every weekend here on out.
Yeah. So
that those 4 Sacred Heart AIC games are very interesting because that's a potential semifinal matchup.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very much so.
And I'd be very okay with that because I'd rather only play one of them
Than both of them.
than both of them.
Honestly, I would rather play AIC.
I'd like to see Mercyhurst maybe jump up and put some pressure on those guys. So
It's possible. And
Mercyhurst or Niagara jump up and put a little pressure on them.
And again, the bottom of the leaderboard is neck and neck. Like Bentley, Canisius, and Air Force are very close still.
Yeah.
I mean, because Bentley's
with
only down
Air Force
on
having 2 games head to head against Canisius.
Yeah. And
I said it last week. Air Force is not out of this.
No.
They're not out of it at all.
I honestly still think
they've still got a hard road though.
And let's also not forget that
it's not easy, but
let's also not realize that their club goalie is currently playing for them right now.
Is he starting?
Yes, because they had 2 goaltenders get Guy Blessing is hurt. Their backup got hurt. Their third string guy left the team. So literally all they have is the club goalie. That's all they've got. Dom and I looked into that so that we realized all they have is the club goalie. So I don't want to say they're out because they like Dan said, they still are very much in it. But with a club goalie, like I don't even know, man. Like that's tough.
Nick Amato won 2 games for us. All right,
that's very true. But it's also us. So
that was the greatest 2 weeks of RIT hockey I think I've ever watched.
And if this dude has to play the rest
Nick
of the
Amato
season,
made 1,000 saves.
Yeah,
won 2 games. Hey, he did what he needed to do.
Yeah. But this guy hasn't won. He's won a game against Niagara, and that was pretty much it. That was shocking when Niagara lost to them as badly as they did. I could not believe that.
Niagara's not bad though.
You are totally discrediting Niagara, and it drives me nuts. They're a good team, JJ.
I'm not.
They're a good hockey team.
As we established,
I'm saying I was shocked
4
they
weeks
lost
into
to
the
Air Force.
season.
That's what I'm saying.
Niagara is good. It's not that Omaha was bad.
Yes, it's that Niagara was good.
That's what I'm trying to say is the fact that Air Force beat them as badly as they did was like, wow. Like, I honestly thought Niagara would sweep them that
I'm
weekend.
sorry. I misheard you. But
don't
still,
talk crap about me. I'm like, wow. I'm like, man, Niagara, you guys kind of suck for losing that game.
Look, it's hard and it's so hard to go out there and play.
Oh, yes, 100%.
We saw it. We lost the game out there. The game we should have won, but we lost.
Well, they also were Air Force at that point in the season was a very different team personnel wise.
I think they've been the biggest surprise this year.
They have been really.
Really, I really thought they were going to be better because they brought all but one guy back, and they were young,
and all of them got hurt pretty much.
So
many guys hurt. It sucks for them.
The injury bug is brutal sometimes.
Yeah,
but I said, they're not out of it. They still have 2. They still have 2 head-to-head games against Canisius. They have 2 games in hand on Bentley.
Yeah.
So,
who does Bentley play this weekend again? I'm trying to remember.
I had it up. I don't anymore.
I'm checking it right now.
Mercyhurst.
Yep, Mercyhurst.
Okay.
At Mercyhurst.
I mean, if Bentley can steal 2 points and jump Canisius, or 2 points, 2 games, or even if they take 1 and tie Canisius if they split, and Canisius loses 1 or something like that, who knows? Like, because Canisius has
Niagara.
They got Niagara.
They're home against Niagara.
That's very interesting.
We'll see. I mean, I don't want to try to predict what's going to happen. I think we just got to see how it plays out.
Ideally, we need who's 1 and 8. That's all we really care about at this point.
I think all we care about is what we do. I mean, we control our own destiny.
Yeah.
The other teams are going to do what other teams are going to do. We control our own destiny. Like we said, get those 5 wins to end the year. We have to go 500 to get the 1 seed. Like, that just blows my mind. Like, we could go and we're going to go better than 500. Right? I think we know that this team has the potential to actually, I mean, I did say it, I still mean it. I think there's still the possibility of winning out. It could happen. I'm not going to guarantee it, but
I mean, you can't
say
that.
It would be hard to do, but
it's very hard to do it though. It's possible.
It's not impossible.
I mean,
and winning out, if it happens, could actually really help our pairwise, especially if we sweep Niagara because of how well Niagara did out of conference this year.
Yep.
Those games
that'll boost
massive.
Because let's not forget, right now we're sitting 19 in the USCHO poll and we're 18 in the USA Today poll.
polls don't matter. 17th in the pairwise.
Yeah,
That's
that's
pretty
the
good.
number that really matters.
That's the big one.
Yeah.
That's the number that matters. The polls don't mean shit. Sorry, I did it again.
Well, hey, they're there, so
Beating Niagara twice
would boost us big time.
could potentially boost us into at-large conversation.
Yeah.
Which I will feel much better about that, especially if we have to play Sacred Heart in the championship.
Yeah. I mean,
guys, you're gonna fast forward a little bit over a month from now. We're previewing an Atlantic Hockey Championship between the team and Sacred Heart. My iPad will be shaking because I will be so nervous.
I mean,
I will be so nervous.
I also look at this and I go, man, do I really want to clinch the number 1 seed at Niagara and just let Chad Veltri have it when we go out of there with it? It would be
I want to do it at
greatest.
home.
I mean, yeah. I will also say this is playing out like for and Nate's gonna hate me for saying this, but this is playing out like us gaining the 1 seed is playing out kind of a lot how the Yankees ended up getting their AL East title, where it's like halfway through the year and they're sitting there going, yeah, they'd have to go sub 500 for the Blue Jays to even catch them. Like at this point, I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but it's very likely that it's going to happen. So I wouldn't be nervous about us not getting the 1 unless something really crazy happens.
It'll be
interesting for sure.
Interesting weekend for sure. I mean, Sacred Heart being idle or playing out of conference
helps.
I don't know if it helps per se, but
it gives us a chance to gain some ground on them, and it makes them nervous because now they got to play more to catch up.
Yeah. Right. Obviously, we can't talk forever about stuff with the conference standings and stuff, but there is a link pinned in the RIT Hockey General channel in Discord, where there's a bunch of data that you can look at to do with...
Which is honestly really fun looking at, too. It's kind of interesting getting to play around with that stuff.
And if you're not in Discord...
Get into it. Let's segue into that right now. I'm going to end by saying student government is hosting planned at whatever. They're hosting a watch party on Saturday at 7:00 at the Wegmans Theater. At the Magic Center building at RIT's campus. If you're off campus,
somebody's gonna have to let me in.
It won't be that. It is very easy to get to. There's a parking lot right in front of the building. It's very easy to get to.
I know where it is. It's just kind of get in the building.
Yes, you can. All the doors are unlocked on the weekends, Nate.
Don't tell people that. That's a horrible thing.
That's open information. Anyways, so that watch party is going on. Special thank you to Dan Talbot for helping set that up. That was great on him for doing that. That being said, we're going to wrap it up now. We've been going for quite a bit. If you have not already, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the notification bell so you are notified when new episodes go live. Like the episode if you like what you heard here, and if you like RIT hockey, leave comments. We do read all of them. Cough, cough, Aaron Huss.
Leave more comments so that
more comments, engagement.
More comments besides Aaron's, please. Not that we don't like seeing his comments, but more than just him. In the description, you will also find links to all of our social media accounts, that being Twitter, Facebook, Instagram is the big one that we've been using a lot lately. That one's been really fun. Also, in the description will be a Discord link that you can use to get into the server and join that. It's been a ton of fun in there. People discussing all kinds of things like the playoffs coming up, and we use Discord to plan trips like the one to Canisius, and we will be having a thread going up very, very soon for planning the trip to Niagara, which is going to be massive. So you better be there for that. That being said, all that aside, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please have a great rest of your evening. Go Tigers.
Roll Tech.